Hello.
All right, thanks for coming, guys. And Paul, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be
Amazing
here.
film.
Thank you.
Last night I watched it, and I was just absolutely blown away. I thought it was one of the most creatively done documentaries I've ever seen, and
Thank you.
the shock and awe elements I think are just off the charts. So
Appreciate
everybody,
it.
definitely go check it out.
Please.
So first of all, congrats on all your success.
Thank you.
You got 8 medals from the X Games, which is
Yeah.
quite impressive. 4 of which are gold.
Thank you.
Yes. And now you have this film to kind of showcase how successful you've become and all the obstacles you've overcome. So congrats on that. But
Thanks.
let's start from the beginning. Tell me about
Yeah.
your childhood and how did you get into skateboarding exactly?
Well, I'm from Los Angeles, but more specifically, San Fernando Valley, about 30 minutes north of downtown. And I just got into it. I went to a new school for 7th grade. And there was a group of kids who skated every day in the morning and every day after school in the parking lot. And as I would come to and from school, I would just stop and watch them and be fascinated. And I was really shy, so it took me a few months to finally work up the courage to introduce myself and ask if I could try riding a board. And it just, something about it just felt right. So for that Christmas, I asked my family if I can get some, just money, $10 from whoever here and there, and go to the skate shop, and I would pick out my own board, and that's it. I've been addicted ever since. It's 18 years later now. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, one of my favorite lines in the movie, I'll read it, is, "For some of us, skateboarding is purely an escape, and for some of us, it's to bond with friends, and for some, it's how they express themselves."
Yeah.
So digging deep into your character, what exactly is it that drives you to do it?
Yeah, I would say it's the expression part. For me, what keeps me so in love with skateboarding is like having an idea in my mind. Like I can't sleep at night sometimes because a trick will pop in my mind that I want to try, and I want to try and learn it. And I'll obsess over it and think about it, and then I'll go, whether it's a street spot or at the skate park, and I'll try it over and over and over again until I finally land it. And it could be that day if I'm lucky. Usually it's not. Or it could be, a few days later, a week later, a month later, however long. Sometimes there's been tricks that's been in the works for years at a time. And finally, you ride away from that one. And for me, that's the feeling right there. When I finally land that one and I'm riding away, that's why I skate, and that's what I'm always chasing, and that sense of accomplishment. I don't know, it's the ultimate high.
So you developed that passion from an early age, and you kept on with it. What were some of the events that led up to you where it kind of clicked in your head and you were thinking to yourself, like, okay, maybe I can make a living at this?
Maybe it's being naive, because, I started skateboarding just before I turned 12 years old, so I was still really young and had a big imagination, and I always dreamt on a level of, big ideas and big dreams. Like when I started, or when I was real young, I would do karate, and I wanted to be Bruce Lee and make the best kung fu movies. And then I started playing guitar, and I wanted to be Jimi Hendrix, like the greatest guitar player ever. And when I was in Little League Baseball, I wanted to be like Nolan Ryan, a great pitcher, So every time I got a new hobby, I immediately thought in terms of like, okay, one day I'm going to be this, And skateboarding was the same. It was just the only hobby that when I got to it, nothing else came along that took my attention away. Like, when all the ones I mentioned before, I would be into that one until the next thing came along and took my attention. And skateboarding, that never happened. So as soon as I got on a board, it felt right. I started learning who the skaters were, who were the greats, and I started studying them. Like, that's it. One day I'm going to be, in the same category as Eric Costin, Andrew Reynolds, Tom Penny, these guys. One day, and that's just, I thought in those terms. So it wasn't like all of a sudden, like after a while, like, oh, I think maybe I got something. It was immediate, like, I got to. Yeah.
But along the way, did you ever receive bad feedback or a lack of support from friends or family?
I wouldn't say. I was very fortunate. My mother was always very supportive of any hobby or whatever it was I was interested at the time, and she would see to it that I had access to try it out. So I wouldn't say I had any real doubters or people who try to steer me away from it. My father was always cool. He's a kid, of course. They skate, they play sports, whatever. He's just having fun being a kid. But when I told him like, hey, like, nah, this is it. Like, I'm doing this. Like, it wasn't that he wasn't believing me. He just wasn't educated in skateboarding. I was like, well, son, is that something you can really do as a living? Do people really make a living? So that was it. Once he started talking in those terms, it definitely fueled my fire. I was like, okay, Dad, we'll see. We're going to see.
That's great you had their support. Was there ever a time, though, where you felt that there actually were obstacles or you actually doubted your abilities at all?
Really, and I don't want this to sound cliche, but the biggest obstacle is myself. When I get, down on myself or doubts start creeping in or whatever the case may be, it happens to everybody, but really, like, after it eats at me for a while, something inside me, like, can't take it anymore, and I have to change it. Like, I can't stand when I'm doubting myself or when I'm scared of something or don't want to try. Like, I can't stand it. So after a while, it like actually fuels me to charge up and overcome that. So really, it's myself that's constantly, like, it's just the battle of your own good and bad side.
There's got to be moments that clearly make you proud today. I mean, I don't know if a lot of people know this about you, but you've been with Nike for a while.
Yeah.
And you are actually only one of 4 athletes ever to release 8 sneakers with the brand.
Yeah.
And the other 3 is Michael Jordan, of course, and then LeBron James and Kobe Bryant.
Yeah,
That's
weird.
Incredible to be in that company.
It's really incredible, and it's still weird to hear that statistic, because obviously I don't feel even near those guys at all. But yeah, apparently it's true that yeah.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, my next question was like, I mean, do you ever wake up in the morning and just really pinch yourself?
Yes.
With like little tidbits like that? Like,
yeah.
I can't believe I'm doing this.
Every day I do, but it's weird. Also, at the same time, every day I still feel like, man, I haven't made it. I'm still trying to make it. I'm still trying to get there. I'm still trying. I don't know. I don't know if that feeling will ever go away, but yeah, I definitely take stock of my blessings all the time, for sure. You have to. You got to be grateful for anything you have, no matter where you are in life,
Do you think being in the company of such high-profile athletes that literally everybody in the world knows about, do you think that helps you bring the sport more awareness and kind of more into mainstream?
Yeah, I think there's a level of that, for sure. But, yeah, I don't know. I think
or do you
something
care?
like this film will do more for that than that statistic. But to your question of do I care? To a certain degree, I'm kind of selfish, and the skateboarding is a selfish thing because you just do it for your own pleasure and your own joy. But I found the more that I enjoy it, the more that I love it, that tends to speak to people because people can recognize when people are doing something that they're passionate about, and I think that helps ignite a flame in people watching that to really be passionate about whatever it is their dream is. So I think by being selfish and loving skateboarding, it helps elevate it in a weird way. So I try not to over-focus on it, though.
Gotcha. So let's talk about the film. So how did that come about? And what was the origin of it?
Yeah, well, the director, Ty Evans, I call him skateboarding Spielberg because he's made the greatest skateboarding videos, at least in my generation, since I started skating. I grew up watching his stuff. And I met him, I don't know, early 2000s, and I was so excited to, like, film with him and be able to work on a project with him years ago. So I had a relationship with him, but he hit me up maybe 2.5 years ago out of the blue and just asked me if I can come to his house, and he wanted to talk to me about something. And when I got there, he took me to his office. He had this storyboard on his wall, and he starts telling me, like, hey, like, I have this idea for this film. I've been talking to Kurt Morgan, the owner of Brain Farm, and he wants to do this film about skating, but something bigger than it's ever been done, told in a real story, not just tricks, and like something that the whole family can watch. And it was ironic because I had been feeling to myself like, man, I want to work on a project that's just like something more. I'd already done so many skateboarding videos within skateboarding, like 13 or 14 videos over my career, and it was to the point where, like, okay, I keep reaching the same audience, keep hitting the same roof, and, like, so what's motivating about that now? I want to do something more exciting. And apparently that's where he felt in his career, too, because he was the one making those videos, and he wanted to do something. So he hit me up, and we happened to kind of be at the same places in our career, and I said yes, and we got together with Mountain Dew, Green Label Films, and they loved the idea, and they supported us, and we got right to work.
That's awesome. And it seemed throughout the film that you guys had a lot of fun making it too.
Yeah,
you know,
tons.
it wasn't just a serious passion project. It seemed like you guys really enjoyed yourselves, and
much.
Throughout the film, if you guys watch it, you'll see that you guys traveled through Spain, China, Dubai, whatever. So many more. What was your favorite place to travel to?
Well, my favorite place in the world is probably Spain, but in this particular instance, I would say Dubai was the favorite stop because that was my first time ever going there, and we partnered up with Dubai Films, and they brought us out there under like the Crown Prince's people, so we had access to the whole country. Like nobody said no to anything we wanted to do. Any building we wanted to skate, security guards let us do our thing. Like we would go and just start skating, security guards would come out like freaking out, not know how to react, and then the guys who are like our chaperones in the white robes and all that would go talk to the guys. 5 minutes later they'll be like, yeah, do whatever you want, it doesn't matter, we don't care, go ahead. And so that was kind of a good feeling, just to like going to the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world, and them giving us access to the top floor and being able to skate all over the grounds that's like super off limits, and it's super like nice granite marble, and they didn't care. We were grinding on it, whatever we were doing, they let us do it. So that was an experience that I will never forget.
Yeah, I'm sure. So throughout the film, the plot line really kind of weaves very nicely between your story and how you came up through the skateboarding world and into who you are today. But then it also weaves in the story of a lot of young and up and comers. Through seeing that in the eyes of the film, do you see yourself as a role model or a pioneer?
I don't look at myself like that. No, that would be weird if I look at myself like that. And to be honest, when I started skating, that never dawned on me because I was too busy looking up to my role models, not ever considering the point that I might become one. But, from time to time, I get asked that question, like, do you take being a role model serious? And I guess that has made me have to, like, look at it and be like, wow, I guess I am a role model. I don't know if I take it being serious. More so, I just try and be the person that I am and be genuinely myself, and and I'm not really ashamed of anything that I'm doing. So I figure if I'm proud of what I'm doing, then that's a way to be a good role model. And I don't try to like preach any type of message because nobody's perfect. So I just try to be who I am, the best me I can be, and hopefully that helps influence and inspire other people to do the same with themselves, whatever the category may be, not just wanting to become a skateboarder, but just a person to reach any type of dream or level of success that they want.
It must have been different to, throughout the whole filming process, to be the one, in front of the camera. When you actually saw the finished product for the first time, what was the first thing that went through your head? And what were your feelings on the film?
I don't even know if I can put that into words. It was an incredible feeling, and it was just when we premiered it last Thursday. Was at the premiere was my first time seeing it. I really wanted to wait and see it like with everyone else in the theater, and like I was so nervous, not knowing how anyone was gonna react, because we put so much time and effort. The worst thing would be for everyone to hate it, and we're like, oh. So I was stressing a little bit, but just as soon as the sound hit the screen and all those visuals, it was just like immediate. My heart started pumping adrenaline. It was like, I don't know how to explain it, man. It was a great feeling, a euphoria or whatever you would describe it as. It was just hard work paying off, and it just really, it was a light feeling. I don't know how to explain it. It was great.
Yeah, well, it's clear you guys conveyed the message you wanted to get out there to the fans, but what do you think overall this film will do for the sport itself?
I guess that's yet to be seen, but what I hope is just that people who watch it can take away a form of inspiration. for whatever it is their dream is. I think there's also a really good message in here, not to make us sound righteous or anything, but there's a good message of like unity. Like if you notice, like we travel all over the world, we meet skaters all over the world. It doesn't matter what culture you're from, what color you are, what economic background you're from, anything. It's like we're literally a family, and there's no thoughts of any type of thing dividing humans. And through skateboarding, I've seen that existing since I first started. Like it's not even a thought about any type of class system or whatever. It's just, hey, you skate, I skate, cool. Like there's a family waiting for you. So, and that's why we call it We Are Blood. So I think that's a pretty awesome message, and I hope that kind of people walk away recognizing that.
And it must have been cool to be part of this project too, simply because you have future aspirations of an acting career, right?
Yeah, that'd be rad to, transition one day out of skateboarding and become an actor. Yeah, so this was, not so much acting, but there was a couple little snippets, like the opening scene was a little bit of acting. But, yeah, it would definitely, got that bug, the acting bug, a little excited in me. And, I've done a couple things back in the day, that got me excited about that. So, yeah, there are some aspirations there.
What kind of movies could you see yourself in? Action, thriller,
Oh, man, I don't know, actually. I guess, I don't know, but whatever it be, I guess I could do my own stunts,
There you go.
So.
That's awesome. All right, guys, so for a little bit, we'll open it up to the audience. If anyone has any questions for P-Rod.
Hey, first off, I just wanted to say that I love, aside from your skating, you've done Vicious Circle, which I've seen.
Oh, sick, thanks.
And I met you actually when there was a premiere for Street Dreams, where
no
I
way.
got a chance to meet Rob and R.I.P. Rip Dunn. But
yeah.
just wanted to ask, like, with those two prior projects, like, what caused you to do that? Because skating, it's obviously it's a sport, but it feels like it's like second nature to you. So to jump into those other projects, what sparked your interest for that?
Well, my father is a pretty well-known comedian by the same name, Paul Rodriguez. So growing up, I was always around TV shows and movie sets and the entertainment business. So from a little kid, I'd always come on sets and see cameras and been really kind of inspired by that. But then skateboarding just found me, so I had to follow that passion, and it took me a place I never thought I'd go. But those two films you were referring to that I did a few years back, those kind of just happened. I guess through skateboarding, a director who wrote this small film we did called Vicious Circle had seen me somehow and, contacted my management and interviewed me one time. He's like, "You're the guy I want. I wrote this movie. You're the guy." And I was like, "Sure, I'm down, of course." And it was a fun experience, just a little independent film we did. And then Street Dreams was a skateboarding film by Rob Dyrdek, and he asked me if I wanted to play the part of Derek Cabrera, and I was, of course, excited. So, skateboarding has brought so many amazing, random, cool opportunities that there's a lot of times I just can't say no. I mean, how many times am I going to get offered those type of things without any type of acting credentials or acting abilities, So that I had to take advantage of it. What's up, man?
Hi. In the film, what did it feel like to be in the RV with the other skaters?
There's a lot of feelings there. At the beginning, it was really exciting. I hadn't ridden in an RV since I was probably like 14 or 15. So I knew most of those guys pretty good. There's a couple guys I was just getting to know. But traveling with a bunch of skaters is super fun. But then probably after 2 weeks into it, the RV was a bit smelly, a bit dirty, a bit, things were breaking down. The RV itself broke down a couple times. So there was some times where you're like, all right, let's get a hotel. All right, I just need some air conditioning for a little bit. But for the most part, especially now looking back on the memories, it was incredible. Fun times, really fun. And nobody got hurt or arrested or anything. I can't believe it, so it was great. Yes.
Hey, how's it going?
Great. How you doing?
Doing well, thanks. So what have you got in the works coming up? The movie's done, it's coming out, everything's happening. I know you're skating, but what else have you got going?
Oh man, I feel boring because I feel like a deer in headlights. I don't know. For me, really, it's when like certain projects come out or a shoe comes out and all the hype kind of goes away. It always goes back to skateboarding, like learning new tricks, trying to improve my abilities. So I guess that's really what it is. I'd love to just get back to street skating, going out and filming with my cameraman and trying to push my abilities, and just stack up some footage and decide what project to do next. Other than that, I got a skateboard brand called Primitive Skateboards that we've been really working on. I got one of our riders, we're about to turn pro, which I'm really excited to announce in a couple months. And we're just working on making that brand really fun and awesome and authentic, Oh, hi.
Hey, a little closer. So I have two questions for you.
Yes.
What's the worst injury that you've ever sustained, and how long did it take you to come back from that? And second of all, what advice would you give to a very novice skateboarder?
Okay, well, the injury thing, thank God, I've been very fortunate. I've had some sprained ankles. Those have pretty much been the worst of it. Those take, good month and a half until you're like all the way back to normal. But thank God I have a great chiropractor who helps me, physical therapist like that. And then as far as advice I would offer you or anyone who would just be starting is take it really slow. Don't try anything that you're not ready to try. And I know, normally, we don't wear pads or helmets or anything like that, but if you're just beginning, I would suggest it. I know it's not considered cool, but worry about coolness later once you have control on the board, and then you can decide for yourself. But just take it slow, learn how to push, control the board, watch a lot of videos, and go to, a local skate park or something like that and try and find people who are of about the same skill level. And I find that I learned really fast when I was learning with kids who were on the same skill level, and we would feed off each other, and somebody would learn something new, and if you were a little nervous, you would try, and I don't know, it just kind of pushes you.
About the falling.
Yeah.
I'm nervous about the falling part.
Yeah, me too. I don't think that ever goes away, but that's a safety mechanism because that'll cause you to take it really step by step and don't try something that you definitely shouldn't be trying as of yet, So that's a good thing, because if you weren't scared, you'd be in the hospital a lot.
Hi, Paul. You
Hi.
were relatively young when you competed in your first X Games. Can you describe what that experience was like?
Yeah, I want to say that was 2003 was my first time. I think I was 18. It was incredible because it was by invite only at that time. I think it still is. It's by invite only, and I was just getting on the scene, just getting recognized, and I get a email or a phone call from someone asking me if I wanted to go in it, and I hadn't really ever thought about it or necessarily had aspirations of going to X Games at that time, but they asked me, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, of course, I'll try it out. And, I went there. I ended up doing pretty decent. I think I got a medal that year, or maybe a third place, maybe not. I don't know. It's been a while. But either way, I had a great time, and my favorite skater ever won it that year, Mr. Eric Costin, so shout out to Eric Costin.
No more? Okay. All right. Paul Rodriguez, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank
guys,
you
go
guys.
see
Thank
We Are
you.
Blood. Thank you, bro.
Yeah, much love.